Title: Life Freaking Sucks, and Here's Why You Should Stop Pretending. Author Lisa Lane. Publisher Ganthos Media Publishing. Read by CG. Chapter 1: Greed. Subtitle: The Engine of Everything Broken. Definition: Greed is an excessive and selfish desire for more than one needs or deserves. Wealth, power, attention, control. It is driven by an insatiable hunger that cannot be satisfied. Historically, it's been labeled a sin. In modern society, it's been rebranded as success. Let's be honest, greed built this world. It built cities, empires, corporations, and technologies so advanced we carry entire universes in our pockets. Greed pushed humanity forward when survival demanded innovation. It rewarded risk. It created movement. For a long time, it looked like progress, but greed was never designed to know when to stop. That's the part nobody teaches you. Greed doesn't end when it wins. It doesn't rest when it has enough. It keeps consuming until it destroys the very thing feeding it: people, meaning, trust, life itself. What once fueled growth now fuels collapse. America didn't fall into this by accident. We didn't lose our way. We followed greed all the way to its logical conclusion. We used to measure success by stability, food, shelter, safety, a future. Now we measure it by visibility, attention, influence, reach. The new American dream isn't owning a home, it's owning eyeballs. It's being seen, envied, and validated at any cost. Money isn't even the main currency anymore. Attention is. Greed has evolved. It learned how to smile. We worship billionaires like prophets and shame the poor for failing in systems designed to exploit them. We buy $10 coffee from companies that underpay their workers and call it self-care. We glorify exhaustion as discipline, burnout as dedication, and emotional neglect as the grind. This isn't ambition. This is addiction. Modern greed isn't about wanting more. It's about being terrified of less. Less status, less relevance, less admiration, less worth. That fear drives people to hoard money they'll never spend, chase validation they'll never feel, and accumulate power they don't even know how to use. Enough never arrives because greed runs on insecurity. It's a bottomless container. You can pour everything you have into it and still feel empty. Every greedy system is powered by scared people. The CEO terrified of shareholders. The influencer terrified of irrelevance. The worker terrified of being replaceable. The parent terrified their child won't make it. Greed convinces you that rest is weakness, that contentment is laziness, and that your value depends on how much you extract from the world before it forgets you existed. And society feeds that fear perfectly. Ads whisper, you could be more. Algorithms reinforce, you should be more. Culture screams, if you're not more, you don't matter. More productive, more attractive, more successful, more visible. Greed doesn't have a finish line, only an appetite. It no longer wears a devil's mask. It wears clean branding, soft fonts, inspirational slogans, and mission statements about changing the world. Influencers sell authenticity while living in rented realities. Corporations talk about community while gutting pensions and laying off workers to pad quarterly reports. Politicians preach freedom while auctioning your data to the highest bidder. This version of greed doesn't steal outright. It distracts. Keep people entertained, overstimulated, insecure, and exhausted, and they won't notice who's draining them dry. It puts hashtags on war, rainbows on oil spills, and positivity quotes over structural rot. Greed didn't disappear, it professionalized. And it doesn't start at the top, it starts quietly. The employee who stays late every night hoping to be noticed. The artist who kills their creativity trying to monetize it. The kid who learns early that love is conditional on achievement. Fear turns into insecurity. Insecurity turns into greed. Greed turns into destruction. Everyone is sprinting to get ahead, but no one notices we're all running in circles. Faster, louder, emptier. We've mistaken greed for greatness, but greatness isn't taking more. It's creating more. It's building something that outlives your bank balance. It's leaving people better than you found them. Greed may drive the engine of modern progress, but it's also steering us straight into collapse. Until we admit that, we'll keep calling self-destruction success and wondering why nothing ever feels like enough. Chapter 2, Ignorance. Subtitle: The Most Profitable Product. Definition: Ignorance is often described as a lack of knowledge. But in the modern world, ignorance isn't about not knowing. It's about not wanting to know. Ignorance is choosing comfort over truth. It's choosing entertainment over awareness, certainty over curiosity, and belonging over honesty. And today, ignorance isn't a flaw, it's a business model. Smart people ask questions. They question authority. They follow patterns. They ask, who benefits? Ignorant systems don't fear stupidity. They fear awareness because people who think critically are harder to predict, harder to manipulate, and harder to control. So the world didn't get dumber by accident. It got louder. You don't need to burn books to destroy knowledge anymore. You just need to drown it in noise. Notifications, hot takes, endless scrolling, manufactured outrage. By the time someone has the energy to think, they're already exhausted. That exhaustion is the point. Most people aren't incapable of understanding what's happening. They are overstimulated, underrested, and emotionally depleted. Thinking deeply requires time, silence, and effort. Three things modern life aggressively eliminates. This isn't neglect. It's an industry. Every platform is designed to keep your brain on autopilot. Every app competes for your attention, not your understanding. The goal isn't to inform you, it's to keep you reacting. Reacting people don't organize. They don't reflect. They don't resist. The news doesn't sell facts, it sells outrage. Social media doesn't sell connection, it sells insecurity. Streaming doesn't sell stories, it sells distraction. And we buy it willingly. The internet promised unlimited knowledge. What it delivered was unlimited content. Information became entertainment, and truth became optional. The result is a population that feels informed but rarely is, confident in opinions they never fully examined. Ignorance today doesn't look like illiteracy. It looks like certainty without curiosity. Everyone has an opinion. Few people verify. Fewer still are willing to be wrong. We share before we think. We argue before we understand. We defend beliefs we didn't arrive at consciously because questioning them would threaten our identity. That's the uncomfortable truth. Ignorance feels safe. Knowing requires responsibility. It requires change. It requires admitting that you might have been wrong. And many people would rather stay ignorant than experience that discomfort. So they cling to narratives that flatter them, confirm them, and absolve them of accountability. And when someone challenges those narratives, the response isn't curiosity, it's hostility. Truth tellers are labeled negative. Critical thinkers are called difficult. Questioners are dismissed as crazy or conspiratorial. In a world built on ignorance, intelligence looks like rebellion. Education didn't collapse, it was redesigned. Schools stopped teaching how to think and started teaching how to comply. Memorize this, repeat that, don't ask why, don't challenge authority, pass the test, move along. The goal was never enlightenment, it was efficiency. The world doesn't want free thinkers, it wants functional workers. People smart enough to operate machines, follow systems, and meet deadlines, but not curious enough to ask who owns the machine or who profits from their labor. Knowledge used to be power. Now it's paywalled, fragmented, buried under algorithms that prioritize engagement over accuracy. Popularity replaced credibility, virality replaced truth, and consensus replaced critical thought. The most dangerous lie ignorance tells is this: you already know enough. That lie keeps people stagnant, defensive, and closed. Real education doesn't end after school. It begins when you start unlearning what you were taught not to question. Ask why. Ask who benefits. Ask what's missing. Because when ignorance becomes the norm, collapse doesn't arrive loudly. It arrives quietly through apathy, confusion, and exhaustion. Not that people don't know better, but that they've been trained not to care. Chapter 3, Fakeness. Subtitle, The Cost of Wearing the Mask. Definition. Fakeness is the act of presenting something that isn't real. It's pretending about who you are, what you feel, or what your life actually looks like. Over time, fakeness stops being a choice and becomes a habit. Eventually, it becomes your identity. Fakeness isn't lying outright. It's editing yourself just enough to be accepted. At first, the mask feels protective, but the longer you wear it, the heavier it gets. Authenticity has been turned into an aesthetic. Vulnerability is staged. Pain is packaged. Every post becomes a performance. Every silence feels like failure. Slowly, you stop living your life and start managing a brand. Nobody abandons themselves all at once. It happens gradually. You're not tired because you're doing too much. You're tired because you're pretending too much. The mask protects you from judgment, but it blocks connection. You can't be loved for who you are if no one ever meets them. When you stop pretending, you lose things, but you gain your breath back. Being real won't make you popular. It will make you free. The moment you drop the act, you don't become less. You become whole. Chapter 4, Escape and Healing. Subtitle, Choosing Enough to Escape is not to run away, but to step out of what no longer serves you. Healing is not pretending things are fine. It's learning how to live honestly with what is. Escape doesn't look the way people imagine it does. It isn't dramatic. It isn't loud. More often, it's quiet. You can't heal in an environment that profits from your exhaustion, so you stop feeding it. Healing doesn't arrive as relief. It arrives as honesty. You begin to understand the power of enough. Enough money to live, not to impress. Enough work to stay engaged, not depleted. Enough time to think, to rest, to exist. Healing isn't becoming someone new. It's returning to yourself. You don't have to disappear completely to escape. You just have to stop abandoning yourself. When you step out of the noise, you don't lose the world. You finally hear it again. And in that space, you find something rare, a life that's yours. If you're listening to this right now, something in you was already awake. This book wasn't meant to fix you. It was meant to remind you. Choose quiet when you can. Choose honesty when it's uncomfortable. Choose enough instead of more. This was Life Freaking Sucks. And here's why you should stop pretending.